Alright, so here is video 4.3 for objective 4.3, solving systems by elimination. Now, once the students work on the elimination method, they love it and they don't want to do this substitution anymore. So, my suggestion to you is pick one method and become good at it. Okay? If you did not like substitution, I don't blame you. It's quite confusing. You have to have a lot of algebra skills to be able to do a substitution. Why don't you just pick elimination method and be good with elimination? Okay? So let's practice elimination here. So the first rule of how to solve by using elimination process, you must place both equations in standard form. This is so important. Okay? That's why it's my rule number one, big star. You must place both equations in standard form. And then you're going to determine which variable you want to eliminate, okay? You're going to say, do I want to eliminate the x's or I want to eliminate the y's? You choose whatever you feel like it's the easiest. You're going to add or subtract these two variables, the two variables that you want to eliminate, the variable that you want to eliminate. You want them to become opposite, okay? You want to make opposite of each other. Once you make two variables opposite of each other, when you add them, they equal 0. It's kind of like a negative 2x plus a 2x. It becomes 0. Why? Because they're opposite of each other. And that's what we want. Okay? Then we solve for the variable left. If I eliminated the x's, then I want to solve for the y. If I eliminate the y's, then I want to solve for x. Then once you're done solving for that variable, you go back and find the other variable that you eliminated, and you give your answer as an order pair. Okay, you check your solution in both equations, and your answer should be an order pair. Let's try an example. Okay, so here we go. I have example number 1. I have 5x plus 3y equals 11. I have 5x equals 2y plus 11. So step number 1 is write both equations in standard form, meaning the x's and the y's must be on the same side of the equal sign. The equation number 1, I like to label them, number 1, number 2. Equation number 1 is already in standard form, so there we go. 5x plus 3y equals 11. But equation number 2 is not in standard form. The y is on the wrong side. So I'm going to subtract the 2y to this other side over here. So I would have 5x minus 2y equals 1. Now I have both of them in standard form. The x's and the y's are on the same side. I'm sorry, this is 11 right here. 11 and the other one is a 1. Okay? So there you go. Now step number 2 says I want to write both equations, 5x plus 3y equals 11, and 5x minus 2y equals 1. I keep writing the 11 as just a 1. There we go. Now it says, pick the variable that you want to eliminate. I want to eliminate the x's. But if I add these two equations right now, if I add them, if I add the top plus the bottom, if I add them, I'm going to get 10x plus y equals 12. I'm still going to have x's and y's, and I don't want that. My goal is to eliminate one variable, okay? So my goal is to eliminate one of them. I want to eliminate the x's. I want them to add up to be 0. If I want that to happen, then I better multiply this bottom equation by a negative 1, so the 5x can become the opposite of 5x. So if I multiply by a negative 1 everywhere, okay, everywhere, distribute this negative 1 for every single value. I'm going to multiply the 5 by a negative 1, the negative 2 by a negative 1, and all the way across the positive 1. So I'm going to end up getting let me rewrite it right here on the bottom, okay? Now I'm going to get the top equation, 5x plus 3y equals 11, but the bottom one is going to become negative 5x because I'm multiplying by negative 1, A negative 1 times a negative 2 is going to become plus a 2y. A negative 1 times a positive 1 is going to become negative 1. There we go. Now that they are opposite, now I can add them. Okay? So a positive 5x with a negative 5x is 0. They're gone. I eliminated them. The 3y plus a 2y is a 5y. Okay? This is a 0. It's gone. And a 11 minus 1 is a 10. Now I divide it by 5, both sides, and we get that y equals 2. There we go. Much easier than substitution. The students start loving elimination really quick. Now that I know that y equals 2, all I have to do is go back. Let me see if I have step number 4 here. Yep, now I know y equals 2. So all I have to do over here is solve for the other variable by substituting into their equation. I know that y equals 2. I got my solution from the previous work. Then I can just come over here, pick either equation you want, 1 or 2. I'm going to pick equation number 2. It says 5x equals 2y plus 1. Okay, and I'm trying to solve for x. I already know y equals 2. So I'm going to plug in the place of a y, I'm going to plug in a number 2. So 5x equals 2 times, instead of a y, I'm going to plug in a 2 plus a 1. 5x equals 2 times 2 is 4 plus a 1 equals 5. Okay, it's 2 times 2 is 4 plus a 1 equals 5. And then when you divide by 5 on both sides, you get the x equals 1. So now I know that y was 2, and I plug it in, and I got x equals 1. So the answer for this is, the solution for the system is x equals 1, y equals 2. And I guarantee you, if I graph these two equations right here, if I graph them on the Cartesian plane, I will get that they will meet at 1, x equals 1, and y equals 2. They're going to meet at that point right there. Okay? So that is how you solve it by elimination. Let's try one more time. I think I have one more example. Here we go. So example 2. X plus y equals 10. 5x minus y equals 2. Step number 1. The equations are already in standard form. Nice. So it's just an x plus y equals 10. And the 5x minus the y equals 2. As you can see, I messed up over here. They're already in standard form. So nice. So I'm going to add these two equations, and I will eliminate the y values, because I already see that they are opposite of each other. Okay? So if I add these two equations, I'm going to get an x. Okay, there's a 1x plus 5x equals 6x. The y's are already opposite of each other, so that adds up to 0. And a 10 plus 2 equals 12. This one was way too nice, but you need to be able to see that they were already opposite of each other and they were already in standard form. So when you solve for x divided by 6 on both sides, you get that x equals 2. Now that I know that x equals 2, I just have to go back. Let's see if I have step 4 space here. Okay, x equals 2. I do have step 4 here. I know that x equals 2. Solve for the other variable by substituting in either equation. I really don't care which one you want to plug in. I know that x equals 2. To me, it doesn't matter. Pick whatever is easier for you. You can plug it in here on the second one or the first one. It is up to you. In my opinion, number 1 is easier. Okay? Instead of an x, I'm going to write a 2. 2 plus y equals 10. I just wrote a 2 instead of an x. So subtract 2 from both sides. We get that y equals 8. There we go. Okay, x was 2 and y is 8. So the solution to the system is, don't get confused, x comes first, 2, y is 8. All right? So the magic of the elimination is making sure they are in standard form. Okay, let me rewind a little bit here. It's making sure that they are in standard form. The x's and the y's are on the same side of the equal. And then make sure that you can eliminate one. They have to be opposites to be able to add up to 0. If they aren't, multiply by -1 or multiply by whatever number you need to multiply, so they can become opposite of each other. And then you solve for one variable, and then you plug it in and solve for the other. All right? And your answers, as you can see, is always a order pair. Be careful so you don't get them switched up, okay? So, my last example here, I don't have all the steps. This is a pair share. I wanted you to try it. We did it in class, but I want you to try it at home. Solve using the elimination process, okay? Take a look at over here. Equation number 1, I like to mark 1 and 2. They're already in standard form. The x's and the y's are on the same side of the equal. And look at this. The y's are already opposite of each other. I have a positive 4y and a negative 4y. This was given to me so easily written, all ready for me to just recognize it. If I add these two equations, because I see an opposite of each other, I'm going to get a 2x plus a 1x. 2 plus 1 makes 3x. A positive 4y with a negative 4y adds up to 0. So these are gone. They eliminated. But a 1 plus 5 equals 6. So we have 3x equals 6. I can divide both sides by 3. And we get the x equals 2. So there we go. Now that I know the x equals 2, you can just go ahead, go back and plug it in into either equation you choose. I really don't care which one. It doesn't matter. You will get the same answer no matter which equation you pick. To me, number 2 seems to be easy. I don't know. It really doesn't matter. So I'm going to pick equation number 2. Instead of an x, I'm going to plug in a 2 for x. 2 minus 4y equals 5. Okay? I'm trying to get y by itself, so I'm going to subtract the 2 from both sides. I'm going to get negative 4y equals 5 minus 2 is 3. Divide both sides by negative 4, and we get that y equals negative 3 over 4. And that is okay. There's nothing wrong with having a fraction. So our answer would be an order pair. X was 2, that comes first, and y is negative 3/4. Okay? So keep practicing, keep working on it. Here are 2 other equations. Equation number 1 and equation number 2. As you can see, is already in standard form, very easy. And the y's are already opposite of each other. So go ahead and solve it. Pause the video, solve it, see if you get the same answer as me. Okay? When I add these 2 equations together, because I already see that they are in standard form, and I already have opposite variables. And that means I can cancel these 2 y's right here. They add up to 0. 2x plus 1x is 3x. But 6 plus 3 equals 9. Now solve, divided by 3 on both sides. We get the x equals 3. I know the x equals 3. Go back. Pick either equation you want. I'm going to pick number 2 again. Okay? Number 2 says x, which is a 3, plus y equals 3. I need to get y by itself, so I'm going to subtract the 3 from both sides. And we get that y equals 3 minus 3 is 0. That's okay. All right, there's my y value. So my order pair is x comes first, so it's 3, comma, 0, right here. All right? So these 2 were way too easy. They're already in standard form. They already had opposite variables. That's the goal. You need to be able to always recognize that. If it isn't in standard form, you need to put it in standard form. So the elimination process is much easier than the substitution. So I'm okay if that is the method that you want to use for the majority of, if not all, your questions on the test. Okay? All right. So good luck with your homework. Let me know if you need help.